Okay, I talked about figuring out how we need to run our servo wires. Anyway, what I found out from the previous 109 I built is that the furthest servo out was 24 inches. And I found a path that would go through both servos, the one for the aileron and one for the flap. And I figured on about coming out here at 24 inches, 4¼ inches from the trailing edge would put me right in the middle of one and at the tip end of the other. So what I did is I took and drew a line, a line that goes through both wings at the same point. So it comes out 25 inches, and I drew a line. And then I made a slot. And I'm going to show you how I made that slot now. What I did, here's the other wing. I got the line in place. I took my straight edge. You need a pretty good straight edge, wide enough that you can put some weight on it. I laid the weight on the edge so I can actually push against it a little bit if I need to. And like I said, we got to go to 25 inches. And let's see if I find my little tool I made. What I did was I took a piece of a 1/2 by 1/4 wood, and I put a piece of 100 grit paper on it, and I trimmed it closely on each edge. Alright, then I made me a little handle. And what we do is we just start here and just lightly start pushing back and forth. This will make you a slot. Just need to keep it cleaned out. And the harder you press, you just keep cleaning that out until you get it down. I made it a whole inch deep. And you just keep going to that. When you make it the 1/2 inch deep, what I did then was I came in here, and I'll make this longer because I need to go all the way to the tip. I took and cut me an 1/8 inch thick by 1/4 wide, and I'm going to glue that just on the top. Now that makes me a channel. That's 3/8 of an inch. I didn't drop that down in there. That makes me a channel. Now you can see there, a channel is 3/8 of an inch deep by 1/4 wide, and you can push your servo wires down through that. The reason we want to put a cap on it is so we don't get any glue down in there. And I'll glue this in place, but I need to go all the way to the end, because when we sheet it, you'll want to do that. Now this is also a good way if you want to put spars in the wing. You can take this same setup and put a spar slot all the way down. Some people put a 1/4 by 1/4 spar slot all the way down and run that for the entire length of the wing. So that it's really easy to do. It's just a matter of sanding it out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this one done, and I'll eventually take probably just some wood glue and glue that just right along the top edge. And what we're doing is trying to keep, for when we sheet this, from woods penetrating down under there and plugging up our hole. But anyway, I'll get this other one done, and then we'll come back. Okay, I got both slots cut. Now what I'm doing is, like I said, I've cut some stringers that are 1/4 inch wide by 1/8 inch thick. What I'm doing now is I'm going a little bit beyond, because I've kind of angled out to where I ended that. I'm going to come up here and go out to wherever this will lay in the wing, and I'm just going to pull it in and make it flush with the wing skin. Got that one. I had a scrap piece of balsa I'm trying to use, so I'm just putting another one in there to butt up against it. Now, you just barely, because we'll come back and just barely hit this with a sanding block later to even this up. But anyway, I put that in there, and now what we're going to do, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to sheet these foam cores with a polyurethane based glue. And the reason we want to make sure we get this sealed up is we don't want the glue to go down into the, because it swells or foams out. I don't want it to go down into our slot here. So what I'm going to do is I start out here. I just put a drop of glue there, and I just take my finger and I spread it to where it's down on in the cracks on both sides. And you need to make sure that spar, like I said, we can come back and just hit it with a sanding block to make sure it's down later. But we're just rubbing the glue down in the cracks on each side, and what that'll do, that'll glue it in place and also seal it, so when we come back and put our servo wires in, we'll have a good slot in there. Or so when we seal it, we won't get any of the other type of glue down in there. But I'm going all the way out. And what I do is, after I get all this rubbed in place, I take a paper towel and clean up as much excess glue as I can get off of there, because I like the polyurethane glue to get the best bite it can on the foam core. But now what we'll just do is I'll let this, I'm getting ready to go to work, so I'll let this set overnight. Now you have to dampen that cloth just a tad to get that off the foam. But when that dries, that'll seal all the edges, not allowing any glue to get down in there. One other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 1/8 by 1/4, and I'm going to cut some strips out of it, and I'm just going to barely sink it in this hole here, or our slot for our spar. I'm actually going to make an 1/8 by 1/8, and what this does, this will also keep the glue from getting down in there, because that was my other concern. And what we'll do is we'll take our spar that we made earlier, and we'll take I forgot where I laid it. We'll take an 1/8 inch off of it on each side. So what we're going to, just to bare it the thinnest we can get in there, but and it'll still allow that, it'll allow that spar to slide in there easily without any problem. And what we can do is go ahead and glue this in, and then after it sets up, we can trial fit the spar back in there. Hope you can see what I'm talking about. Anyway, I'll show you. I'll go ahead and get this cut, and I'll show you what I'm going to do to it too. Okay, you can see here, I've cut that down towards an 1/8 by 1/8. All I'm going to do is take this and just pull it down in that line. You can see it just slides in there very easily. And I'm going to do the same thing to it, where I'm just going to put a bead of glue on top of it and pull it out. That'll glue this in place, sealing all the edges around it. And what I'll do is I'll go do all 4 sides, do the top and the bottom on both sides. And what this will do is, once we get that done, I'll go ahead and take my spar that I made. Here it is. And I'll just measure down an 1/8 inch on each side, and then we'll trial fit it to make sure it still fits the slot okay. And we'll get it worked until we get till it does fit in the slot. As long as we maintain our angle, we're fine. So anyway, I'm gonna get all 4 of these in. I'm gonna let it set up overnight, and then we'll go from there.